guys, welcome to episode 49 of my Warhammer 40k review series. This week we'll be reviewing issue 49 in something that is a surprise to no one. It's one of the lower value for money issues this week. We've got 3 paints in, which at $2.75 a pop comes to £8.25, so you're making a saving of 26 pence. It's a saving. If they're paints you need, and I always need paint, then it's totally a useful thing. I think Ultramarine players are going to be happier with this stuff than other players, but we've got Calgar Blue, which is a nice blue. We've got Dawnstone, which is a nice grey, and Green Camo, which is a nice dirty green, very olive. As I say, I think over the course of this, the happiest players or the happiest collectors are going to be the Ultramarine and the Death Guard collectors, because they're going to be getting colours that they can use more of, or they're more likely to use than other people. But even without that, yeah, it's a good blue, it's a nice dirty green, and it's it's a good blue, it's a nice dirty green, and it's a useful grey. So that's pretty cool. Oh dear. Sadly, that's all the pretty attachments to it. We can see that the savings have settled down a bit on some of them. It's still going a bit up and down with some. Yeah, for example, a couple of weeks ago when we got all the Death Guard stuff, we got a lot of savings there. When we get the big sprues with the with the multiple Marines on, and Jumper Marines and Plasma Marines, we're making bigger savings there. In the painting ones, we're making less savings, but still, it's $7.99. You're getting $8.25 worth of paint, so you're still saving money left, right, and centre. I'm going to quickly address something. Last week I said I was going to put the bikes on a competition on one of my, either on my Facebook page or my Tinder page. No, my Tinder page. Jesus, that sounds wrong. Or my Twitter page or something else. One of the guys commented in the video, it might make more sense to save it until I've got a full squad of bikes to give away. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save it, and then when I've got a full squad of bikes that I don't use, I'm going to give them away. Either on this channel or on one of the other online things that are on. I've got Facebook, I've got Twitter, and I've got one that's got a little camera. My brain's failing today, it's too hot. Just got back from Thrudball. If you're a Blood Bowl fan, if you're a Blood Bowl fan, Thrudball was amazing. Shout out to Evil Jim's Monkey and his lad, who I met there, who watched the channel. Hey guys. If you don't know what Blood Bowl is, it's another game by Games Workshop. It's been around since the 80s, has a very strong, very fanatical following. It's a lot sillier and a lot funnier, but it is a hell of a lot of fun. So another system that I totally advise checking out. Maybe you'll like it. Let's get into the magazine. As always, got some fantastic artwork on the front. It's advising us that we're going to be highlighting with the new layer paints. We're going to be looking at Land Raiders and the Black Crusade. As always, signed by the ubiquitous Ian. Nice front page there. And straight away into the Space Marine Land Raider. It's giving you a nice picture there, which looks pretty cool and pretty detailed. That could actually be a model. It's could be an arted up model. It's hard to tell. But it runs through the ratings, giving an armor rating of 8, speed of 6, firepower of 7, and classing it as a heavily armored transport. Worth noting, this heavily armored transport is completely useless to anybody who's been collecting this. It will not take Primaris Marines, they're too big. But it will take Terminators, which is surprising that it will fit one but not the other. The transport capacity is 10 Space Marines, as a crew of 2 Space Marines. Standard armors is 20 heavy bolters and las cannons. It's got a hunter killer, a storm bolter, and multi-melter as optional, as well as smoke launchers. It also has top, front, rear, and side embarkation points, and it says, "Note: cannot transport Primaris Marines." So that's That's worth noting. Land Raiders are really good. They've been the workhorses of the Space Marines for ages. One of the most heavily armed and heavily armoured transports they have. One of the most heavily armed and heavily armoured vehicles they have, actually. A Land Raider will go toe-to-toe with any other Space Marine tank and usually win. But they are expensive on the battlefield, so that's pretty cool. Sorry. A little tired. I'll show you why in a minute. Not relevant to this video. We've got some beautiful, you see I'm really tempted to try and frame that and put up. We've got a beautiful cross-section of Land Raider. They're looking really good. I'm hoping they're going to do some more cross-sections of this as we go through, because frankly it's really nice to see how they work. And if you're not familiar with it, that's very much how the cross-sections are done in pretty much every history and how things work book that I ever read in the 80s and 90s. And it's pretty nifty. Sorry guys. The Land Raider, it's basically goes through the basics of what the Land Raider is. Warded against corruption. Forces of Chaos, particularly the Heretic Astartes, relish the opportunity to capture and corrupt Land Raiders. For this reason, Land Raiders are protected from demonic possession. The Adeptus Astartes install manufacturing sigils and purity seals during the production process for increased spiritual protection. So that's pretty cool. So that's why the machine spirit doesn't get instantly corrupted. Here we've got some more pictures of Land Raiders, some more basics. You've got the basic Land Raider, and then you've got the Crusader and the Redeemer. The Redeemer has a reduced transport capacity, but actually no. The Redeemer has a slightly increased transport capacity when flamethrowers. The Crusader has a massively increased transport capacity and hurricane bolters, which is basically six twin-linked heavy bolters on each side. Sorry, not on each side. Three on one side, three on the other. It's pretty nasty, and if you're an assault army, that's the one you want, because obviously where it's a Land Raider, it can still fire as it disembarks its troops, just laying down a hail of fire. You've got, obviously, if you're hitting up close, you're going to be within that rapid fire range, so you're going to be firing 2 shots each. So that's 6 times 2, that's 12 shots, and those shots are going to be twin links, so a lot of them are going to hit. Add that to the assault cannon on the top, add that to the storm bolter, add that to the pistol shots from add that to the pistol shots from your Marines coming out, and you've got a lot of firepower, really softening up the enemy before you even hit it. You can either focus it on one mega unit to soften it up before your guys go in, or you can use it on different units. Obviously the machine spirit allows you to do some janky stuff with the Land Raider. Sorry, I'll just clarify. By that, I don't mean you can fire different ones at different units per se, but if you can assault one unit and the Land Raider can fire at another unit. Well, I haven't checked out the new things because again, not playing standard Marines in this iteration, but it did hold 16 troops, which was enough for example, 15 Blood Claws and a Wolf Lord, or 15 Blood Claws and a Wolf Priest, or 15 Blood Claws and a Rune Priest, depending on how you wanted to smash things out. With the right buffing, with the right either buffing character or devastatingly effective close combat character, it did make for a little bit of a Death Star unit. You could literally run up, smash things, disgorge this horde of warriors out of it, and be pretty sure that whatever you offloaded on was dead. I used to load it with 15 Blood Claws. I used to take 2 Flamers, because you can have Blood Claws with Flamers, which allowed me to do some damage. But I could substitute those with Melters or Plasma if needed. And I used to put a Wolf Lord in it. You used to get 1 Flamer for a unit of 10. If you took it up to the full 15, you get you get 1 special weapon. You get access to the second special weapon. Add that to a Wolf Lord with 2 Power Fists and the ability to do extra attacks, which depending on which edition you did, they could, or with which Warlord trait you rolled, they could. you'd end up with a bunch of fodder that were, with a bunch of blood claws that would do damage, but they'd also act as protection for the Wolf Lord. And then after the enemy had hit back in his initiative phase, because remember this is 6th and 7th that I was using there, the Wolf Lord would then hit back with 5 or 6 power fist attacks, weapon skill 5, and strength 10, which was just absurd, would kill pretty much anything in front of it. And that was nifty as well. Loads of cool stuff, loads of nifty stuff. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to do something similar in 8th Ed with Space Marines. Obviously, your special characters can no longer join units, but that shouldn't really affect it. It's a 60-man capacity. You can still take your characters, you can still take your cool stuff, you can still offload death onto people. Next, we've got the Black Crusades. For those of you unfamiliar, the Black Crusades are what Abaddon has been doing for the past 10,000 years since 30k. Hence, he's garnered the nickname Failbadon, because he's done 12 Black Crusades that apparently did nothing much. They were always driven back and always foiled. Although they've now been retconned to have been all part of the plan. Or, I meant to do that. Basically, though, Abaddon was setting it all up, and eventually it's worked, and eventually it's done it. Which was to split the Imperium in 2, so he could then try and conquer one half while the Imperium tries to defend the other half. It'll be interesting to see what happens, but that's plot for a future point. It's going through what the Black Crusades are, explain what each Black Crusade did, how it works. We've got the map here showing where the Black Crusades spouted from and where they came from. You can see that not all of them came out of the Eye of Terror. Some of them came out of the Maelstrom, which was the second. Yeah, we know about the Eye of Terror. If you have a look at a map, there's a map of the Imperium. There's a second. Well, there's multiple small water tears, but the second biggest one, which was the biggest one prior to the Awakening of Slaanesh, is called the Maelstrom, and they've used that one as well and struck from both of them, because obviously they can travel through the warp because they're protected by the Chaos Guilds between the two of them and bounce around. And got a brief description of Abaddon's Demon Sword, which I'm going to try and pronounce. Drachnien. Even the hardened skins of Dema or armour sealed by the power of the warp cannot stand against Abaddon's Demon Sword Drachnien. The origins of this blade are unknown, perhaps even to Abaddon himself. Demons speak of the blade in fear, referring to it as the Shard of Madness, or the Thorn in reality. It existed long before the rise of mankind, which is weird because it seems to be shaped for a human hand. It's alive with dark intelligence, power to shear the Drachnien has the power to shear the material universe. Basically, it's a badass. Basically, Drachnien works where it wants to, and right now it wants to work for Abaddon. So that's pretty cool as well. Next, we have edge highlights. These new paints are layer paints, so they're going to be very useful. You might want to thin them down a little bit, but not too much. They're being used for edge highlights, so you do want them to pop. But yeah, basically it's showing you there how you can add edge highlights to your guys, make them look good, make them look fancy. We're adding the edge highlights to the pre-existing models that we've done, and that's going to really add another whole layer of coolness. And yeah, it's going through what to do with all the paints and what you can do with them. It's not giving you exact descriptions on every single character, but nearly. And it's just basically going through what you can do and what you can add, and how you can just use these edge highlights to really give your guys that three-dimensional look. It's worth noting that there's lots of other techniques, but you've had washing, dry brushing, shading, and that go on. Edge highlights is kind of the last of the main techniques. A lot of it now is just going to be down to you guys practicing and getting it right. So that's pretty cool. If you're unsure how they work, or if you want more detail, check out the highlighting videos or the painting videos on this channel. I've tried to make it as easy as possible and give as much explanation as I can as how to do them. Do things like dry brushing, washing, highlighting and stuff like that. They're all fairly basic, they're all fairly simple. Give them a go, and then keep giving them a go, and eventually you'll get good at them. That's how it works. It's all down to practice. Next, we have got medical emergency. I think Nurgle's 2 favourite words. We've got a nice little bits and pieces here, rimping you up for the next mission, which is Vector of Conflict, which is a nice cool mission involving the Plague Surgeon, the Poxwalkers, 7 Plague Marines, a Malignant Plaguecaster, the Primaris Apothecary, the Primaris Librarian, 5 Intercessors and 5 Aggressors. So you've got a nice balance of characters, psychic powers and troops there, so that's pretty cool. I seem to have whizzed through this. My apologies, I've gone a bit fast. Next week we have cultists. Cultists are awesome. They're probably the cheapest thing in your Chaos arsenal. They're basically your screen. You use a lot of them and you throw them at the enemies, or you use a small amount of them and you just stick them between your guys and the enemies whilst you charge forward, and your enemy has to kill the cultists before he gets to your guys, which he'll probably do in a turn or two, but frankly you don't care because they're that cheap. Then week after that we have the Hematope Reactor, which is another awesome piece of scenery. We've got a lot of scenery so far, so it's going to work out really nice. With the Hematope Reactor, that's going to add another really big, nice centerpiece there, which is going to look really cool when you paint it. Let's have a look what's coming up then. We've got Death Guard Chaos Cultists, History of Demonic Incursion, and the Dark Angel Successor chapters next week, which should be really cool. And then we've got the Hematope Reactor, the Salamanders chapter, and Heretic Astartes. It's worth noting that Heretic Astartes isn't always the same as a Chaos Astartes. Some follow Chaos, some have just rebelled against the Empire. Others haven't even done that. They've just gone their own way and have been declared heretics, but are still loyal. So there's a lot of stuff there. The Salamander chapter is pretty cool, actually. It's one of the nicest chapters. It's certainly one of the most human friendly. You'll notice there's a marked difference in Space Marine chapters. Some of them will be very, very dismissive, callous, even uncaring about humans, to the point where they'll just quite happily kill humans because they see them as an almost infinite resource, so it doesn't matter if they wipe out a whole planet as long as they achieve their goals. Others like the Salamanders and the Space Wolves, and to a certain extent, the Ultramarines care much more about humans, and either because they believe them to be honourable, decent creatures like themselves, or because they understand that they are something that has a tactical value, and if they let all the humans die, there'll be nothing left. And in other cases, just because it's their job. But there is a significant and marked difference between how certain chapters treat the citizens of the citizens of the Imperium. So that'll be interesting to see what they've got in 2 weeks' time. I will see you guys next week, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye, guys. I forgot to show you why I'm out of breath. I promised I would. I have built myself this edged gaming table. It's 3 foot by 3 foot, so my little boards and things slot into it. I'll just quickly show you. For example, I've got my Blood Bowl pitch here. I'm just showing this off because I'm a douche. I haven't got it set up right. You can see the boards slot in here, and the third one will slot in there, and I've got my little thing. The boards are slightly wider than they should be, so I've actually got to trim them down. But that's what happens when you get something cut at the hardware store. It's done quick, and it might not be exactly right. It didn't matter previously, but now I've got this 3 foot by 3 foot board. I'm going to be building stuff in it, and hopefully I'm going to be able to run some more battle reports off of it, because I'm going to be able to set it up and put some stuff on the side so I can actually film from it. Okay, genuinely by this time, and I'll see you guys next week. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, remember to like and subscribe to my channel. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter. Not sure why, but I am. So if you like it, see me there, and please tell your friends. Thanks very much. Bye.